Can begin lying on your back in Shavasana. And taking a moment to kind of organize your body for symmetry, for ease in Shavasana here. I like to separate my feet wider than my hips. I feel like that's a little more easeful for the hips. And then just see if you can start to relax and settle your body down into the ground. Notice how you make contact with the floor. Noticing with kind attention any asymmetries, like maybe one part of the right hand is on the ground, but it's a different part of the left hand on the ground. Noticing places of tension, places of ease. Noticing your overall mood, energy level, mindset, emotional undercurrent. Without pushing or forcing, allowing the mental formations to kind of shift a little bit more into the background and the physical sensations a bit more into the foreground. And that might be emotional sensation, density, feelings in the gut or the heart, tingling, pulsing, streaming. It might be more gross, so it might be, oh, my lower back, I can feel that. So again, dropping or shifting away from the mental commentary and into this direct experience of your body and your breath. Breath breathing you. Let's begin our movement inquiry with what we call the Baddha Konasana slide. So sliding the outer edge of one foot along the ground to bend the knee. It's best to be either straight on carpet or have a blanket on top of your mat. We're not trying to get any traction here. It's a slide and glide, alternating legs. And working as much as you can with gravity. So you could place an imaginary weight on your inner thigh. Knee goes directly out to the side. Try initiating the movement from the knee rather than from the foot. Like the knee is a puppet and you're tugging on a string to bring the knee to bend out to the side. Maybe pausing at the end range for a moment to further let go before sliding the leg out straight again. So we're really embodying presence here, practicing presence, and getting out of any kind of habit mode of rushing or reaching for the next thing. So we can do that by noticing sensation. For me, it's in my inner thigh. I can feel the shift of the pelvis and even the side bend action through the lower spine, lower back. Might be different for you. Might be some cracking sounds. I'm just making it easy. Adding on to create the circular flow. Start is the same. We're sliding the leg into this Baddha Konasana shape. And then rock to the inner edge of the foot. So the knee swings across the midline. Keep the outer edge of the foot lifting away from the ground and slide the inner edge of the foot along the ground in order to straighten the leg again. Alternating legs. So we move from this externally rotated shape to a more internally rotated shape. You could be more active, more engaged with the second half of the movement. So when you rock to the inner edge of the foot, push the inner edge of the foot into the floor, reaching the knee toward the opposite foot pretty much. And even squeezing that glute to help create a little more space, a little more opening for the front of the hip. A little more hip extension. Notice what's happening with your breath. Notice what's happening in the ribs. Notice if the two sides are different. They probably are. Going slow. Paying attention. Take about one more round here. Circular flow is in the hip. Eventually pausing again in Shavasana. Sensing energy or life force or prana within you. Now let's plant both feet about hip width apart. And interlace the hands underneath the head, the base of the skull. Starting to flex and extend the spine like cat-cow. So with your inhalation, we create a gap between the lower spine and the floor. The hips stay down. The arm bones press down. As you exhale, eliminate that gap you created. Really press the back into the floor. Lift your head. Elbows squeeze together. That's important. And we peel the shoulder blades up off the ground. Inhaling to expand the front body. Expand the belly, expand the collarbones, and then exhale. I'm creating expansion through the back. and engagement through your core, through your deep core, your abdominals, maybe even with the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha, the root seal. And whenever you feel inclined, including a diagonal line of energy now with the exhalation, bringing the elbows across the midline toward one hip or one knee. Doesn't have to be very far. You could angle the elbows toward like the inner thigh, just barely across the midline. Or further. It's good to change it up. Try to keep the hips from wobbling side to side so hips are stable. Option to add one more element as the elbows come across the midline, bring the knee in toward the elbows. Foot lands as you arch to your back bend and press the arms down. Really peel the shoulder blades up, coming across toward the other knee. Take your time. Slow, steady breath. Keeping the hips stable. Mine just tried to wobble, so maybe the movement gets smaller if that's happening for you. One more time through your second side. And then you can land the feet. Breathe the arms out from underneath your head. Feet can come a bit wider than hips width now. Let's keep the arms down. Bring left knee in toward the chest. And then circle the knee. So it'll be kind of like a semicircle. Otherwise you'll run into the other leg. We're not gonna do anything with the right leg. So just keep the foot planted, the knee up, and draw a circle with your left knee. Notice any clicking. Movement doesn't need to be big. Make it smaller if you're pushing into pain or pinchiness. Switch directions. Land the foot. Remember, feet can be wider than hips here, so you got a little more room for that circle. Right knee in, arms are down, so the leg is doing it, hips doing it on its own, not with the hands. Circling. Switch directions. Bring the foot back down, feet wider than hips, arms out to a T. Palms can be up or down here, windshield wiper, knees side to side. Let this outer leg drop all the way down. That kind of Baddha Konasana or tree-shaped leg. and be more engaged, more active with this inner leg. So like we did before, push the inner edge of the foot into the ground, the knee reaches away, that hip will lift up more. And we squeeze the glue, engage the buttock muscle to help create more space for the front of the hip. Shoulders stay down, maybe one or two more times here, going relatively slow so you can keep attuning to tuning your awareness to the sensations. Gradually bring the legs back to center. We'll just keep the feet planted and legs passive or still for now. We'll work this external rotation. So the arm is going to stay on the floor. If your palm is facing down, the external rotation direction is to rotate the palm to face up so the thumb points back behind you, and then to keep rotating. Arm is down on the ground. Just do one arm at a time, bringing it back to center. Palm can just finish up. And then let's just repeat that one side a few times to really connect to what's happening. With this palm up, we keep rotating. You can feel and even exaggerate the shoulder blade tucking down when you do that. Depending on your mobility, you might be able to pivot off the thumb. So for me, my thumb is pressing a little bit into the ground, and I'm ending up with the palm facing down again. You might not get anywhere near there, so please don't force it. Just getting a sense of this external rotation. And then try the other side. So if this is a newer or unfamiliar, confusing move for you, it's good to start with the palm facing down. And then we flip the palm to face up, and we keep going in that direction. So the palm will face back with the thumb pointing down, and then as it's available, continue the rotation in that direction, and then just unwind. Palm can just finish up. You don't have to go all the way to the palm down. You could. Feel and even encourage the shoulder blade to kind of tuck down so the shoulder moves away from the ear. So many of us are more internally rotated in the shoulder. We've got like a little bit of rounding or kyphosis, or kind of slouch. So the external rotation is the opposite of that. And one arm is different than the other, most likely, especially if you're not ambidextrous. Okay, we're going to combine this external rotation with our windshield wiper legs. So as the knees drop over to the right, externally rotate your left arm. And then release that rotation. Legs drop to the left, externally rotate right arm. You could turn your head, your gaze to look toward the arm that's rotating. Arm can be lower down, more close to the body to make it a bit more accessible. We definitely don't want the arm, or at least I'm suggesting not to have the arm higher up here for today. Just at the T or lower. Take your time. Be gentle. working the engagement of the inner leg. So there's a lot going on here. If you're getting confused or frustrated, you can, just simplify to make it work for you. Just a couple more rounds here. Notice if it's harder to get one glute to engage, like you might have no problem squeezing, engaging, activating left glute, but right glute might be a little more sluggish and resistant to engagement. That's really common. And then once you're back to center, you can bring the arms down a bit or leave them out to the T, but the arms are still on the floor, or yeah, they're still on the floor, knees in toward the chest. Knees stay together here, and we're gonna circle the knees. So we're not circling the knees away from each other, then in. I mean, you could do that, not wrong, but my suggestion is knees stay together and circling the knees. Shoulders staying down, that might inform how big the circles are. Switch directions. Spiraling back to center, knees in toward the chest, arms out to the T, palms up or down. If you end up having trouble keeping your knees together, then I would personally grab a block and place it between the knees. You could do that if you have any kind of SI imbalance, sacroiliac stuff going on. It's gonna maybe be a little bit better. Shoulders stay on the ground. That's gonna limit potentially how far you go. So we're gonna keep the shoulders down. The legs are dropping over to one side, but they're really curling up toward the elbow. I don't want them to kind of stray far away. So tuck the knees in. See how far you can reasonably get, keeping the opposite shoulder down, and then bring the legs up through center and over to the other side, tucking the knees in so they're angling more toward the elbow. Opposite shoulder staying down. See if you can go with control rather than momentum. Keep squeezing the knees together. You could use the block whether or not you have difficulty or SI imbalance. It's just a different way to do it. So less about getting the legs all the way down to the ground, more about maintaining the rooting of the shoulders, moving with control, moving with intention. Moving in a way that feels nourishing and successful for you. Adding on, this is going to be a circular arm movement. You might end up needing to adjust your position in order to have this free range of motion. So we're going to let the legs come all the way over to one side. We're going to take the opposite arm. So my knees drop to the knees drop to the left, right hand. You can keep it on the floor, and keep the arm straight without force. The arm circles on the floor up around the head until you roll onto your side and your hands stack. And then we rewind. The legs stay where they are. We're drawing this circle, keeping the arm as close to the floor as you can until the arms are back out to the T. Then knees stay together. Bring the legs up and over to the other side. Remember, we're tucking or kind of curling the knees in toward the elbow. So if the knees are now to the right, it's the left arm. It's going to draw a circle around the head. Let the head go along with the movement. So the ending is you're on your side looking at your hands with the hands stacked. Circling the arm up around the head again. You could actively reach through the arm as you're circling. Try not to cut the corners here. Wait till the arm's out to the T. Use your core, squeeze the legs together to bring them over to the other side. And then just find your flow here. Try to go slow-ish at least. If you're running into kind of pinchiness or pain or like a stuck place in your shoulder, then imagine that like a speed bump and you're going to go up around that place and then continue on with the movement. Reaching through the arm as it draws the circle up around the head. Okay, we're about to change things here. So the next time the knees are over to your left, pause, let's meet there. Knees are tucked in toward the chest. You can let the arms come all the way down, the legs come all the way down. It's okay if this right shoulder lifts now because we're going to lift it. So we're going to try to keep the legs where they are and turn the torso, turn the belly to face the ground. So you have to kind of lift and turn. So the knees are off to your left. I mean, it's now your right. Yeah. We turn the belly away from the legs and maybe stack the hands. You can rest the forehead. You can rest your cheek. If you want more of that familiar shape we were just in on our backs, arms can come out to a T. I'm just breathing here. Might be able to get a little more lift and turn of the belly opposite the legs, but don't force it. Just see if there's some room to comfortably do so. Breathe into the back ribs. Rewind, so you're back on your left side. So we're going to slide that left arm underneath so the hands are stacked out in front of you. Heading for the other side, so right arm sweeping, drawing this circle up around the head till you're in this more traditional spinal twist shape. Bring the knees up, in, over to your right elbow. That left shoulder can come up because we're going to turn the whole torso to face the floor. So you can lift and turn the belly opposite the legs And then find the arm configuration that works for your shoulders, whether that's stacking the hands, see what's good for your neck. Is it resting a cheek? Maybe the arms come out to a T. Direct your breath into your back ribs. From here, coming onto your belly, so you can just kind of slide your legs back behind you. Bring your hands to stack and your forehead onto your hands. Take hold of your elbows. Elbows at least slightly in front of the shoulders. Could be more so. Tuck your toes under. Push the heels back. Squeeze your glutes, even squeeze your inner thighs. Really press down through the pubic bone and also press down through the elbows. You can bring the bottom of the rib cage back, kind of like absorbing the ribs toward the back body if they're flaring out. Chest rising. Elbows can slide further forward if you're feeling this too much in the back. And then lower down, release your head, release your feet. Let's bring left leg to the Baddha Konasana shape, like tree pose, but the foot doesn't have to touch the leg. And then we'll stretch the right arm forward. Right arm forward, palm is down. If your shoulder doesn't like this, try taking the arm out more to a diagonal. Tuck right toes under. And then press left forearm down from the elbow all the way to the hand. Press right hand down. So the right elbow lifts. You can kind of dial the outer shoulder down toward the ground. Squeeze your glutes. Try to hollow the belly away from the floor. Release down, slide the left leg straight, bring the hands together underneath the head. Right leg, bending out to the side. Left arm stretching forward, straight forward or a little out wider to accommodate your shoulder contentment. We'll tuck the left toes under. Energy through the left heel, really press through the heel. Your pubic bone is probably not going to get to the ground, but you can send it down toward the ground. Squeeze the glutes and then lift up. So I'm rooting down through my right forearm, right hand, right elbow, and left hand. Try drawing the abdominal wall back toward the spine, away from the floor. Shoulders are down, away from the ears. As you lower down, you can slide the legs straight and roll onto your back. Shavasana. End of our floor sequence today. Notice what you notice. Notice your physical experience. Subtle energy. And notice if any shifts have occurred in the way you're feeling from when we began. Okay, when you're ready, you can bend your knees, roll to your side. We're going to come up to a pinwheel seat. So let's do right leg in this Baddha Konasana shape and left leg in this Virasana or hero shape. If you're able to, we tuck the foot right next to the hip and have the toes pointing straight back rather than out to the side. If this shape feels really awkward or you can't be upright, please sit up onto a pillow or blanket or a block. Okay, from here, we're going to take a fold forwards. You can fold over your right leg, over that cobbler's or bound angle shaped leg. Breathe into the back ribs. Let's rise up through the spine. We'll keep the legs as they are for a little side bend. So this will be a side bend to your right, left arm. Really reach the arm up and then over. So it's like this up and over rather than just straight over. We want to make sure you can let the right elbow bend so the right shoulder doesn't crowd the ear. Some of you could even come down onto your forearm. That might feel good. That's it. Yeah, if the shoulder is unhappy here, you can keep the arm down, maybe the hand on the hip or just the arm down. Still breathing in to the left side. And then rising up. Let's switch sides. First folding over your front leg, your left leg. Spread your breath across your back. Rise up through your spine. Left hand comes down. Right arm reaches up and over to the side bend. So left elbow is bending, so the shoulder's not crowding the ear. If it seems right for you, you might come down onto your forearm. Gently rising up. Okay, let's lose the blanket, lose the socks. We're going to come into child's pose with the toes tucked under. So this is active child's pose, or that's the invitation. Arms stretch forward, hands shoulder width apart or a bit wider. Spread the fingers. You can even dial the hands a little away from each other here, just kind of like you're screwing the hands into the floor. And then push the floor away to send the hips further back. Try lifting the abdominal wall, lifting your belly away from your thighs. Rising up to all fours, knees hips width apart, and then we'll come down onto the forearms. So the elbows are directly beneath the shoulders. If it works for you to have your hands shoulder width apart, do that, palms down, rooting the inner wrists into the ground. If your shoulders just aren't happy here, they might be happier with the hands interlaced. And either way, we're pressing the floor away with the elbows. So there's this kind of puffing up or lifting between the shoulder blades. And then we're gonna add a little barrel roll here. So it's like a lateral circular cat-cow. Puffing up the ribs toward the ceiling. Shifting the ribs over to one side. Releasing the ribs down like cow pose. And then shifting the ribs over to the other side. So you can isolate more through the ribs and the spine and keep the hips relatively still. Switch directions. Spiraling back to center. Push the floor away with your forearms, get that kind of broadening between the shoulder blades on the back. Lift one foot off the ground and then swivel it in and swivel it out. So foot goes in, you're kind of pivoting off the knee. I'm not moving the hips. That would make the movement bigger, but that's not what we're after. You could be kind of loose with it if you want, or you could be more intentional. I like to work more intentionally in this one, especially with that internal rotation. So when the foot's coming out to the side, so you can nudge that end range. Abdominals drawing inward. Head in line with the rest of the spine. Try not to drop the head here. So you're looking down, basically between your wrists, kind of. Okay, let's place the foot back down and try the other side. So you lift the foot, keeping it flexed, just a way to stay more engaged. Hips are staying pretty still. you're running into the other foot, you can untuck those toes to have a little more clearance. Notice if this side's working differently, like you might have more internal rotation on this side. Drawing the belly toward the spine. It's lots of work for the shoulders still, yeah, push the floor away. Coming back to center. And then we're going to thread the arm through from here. So you can bring your right hand underneath the left arm, or whatever you want to decide you want to do first. Slide it away. And then we're going to use this freer hand to apply a little traction. So get a grip on your wrist and tug the arm away from you. Breathe into the upper back, breathe between the shoulder blades. Going back to the forearms, elbows beneath the shoulders. And then other side, threading the arm underneath. You can bring your head down, creating traction, tugging on the wrist, as if you could kind of draw the arm or tug the arm further away from you. Okay, and then you can come back to your forearms and we'll come up onto the hands. Spread the fingers. Imagine you kind of screw your hands into the floor away from each other. Tuck the toes under. From your belly, lift up, downward facing dog. Knees can stay bent here. Really push the floor away. Draw your belly toward your spine. Walk your feet up toward your hands. And then let's sweep the arms forward and up. And bring hands to heart center, Samastiti. Feel into your feet, spreading the toes. Rooting evenly through inner, outer edges of the feet. Okay, you might want 2 blocks here at the top of your mat. If you have them, just have them handy. You can take them or leave them. Working with pyramid here, Parshvottanasana. Let's start with the left foot forward between the blocks. And the right foot about midway back. We really want to bring this right hip forward. That's critical. If you're having difficulty doing that, try taking the foot more out to the side. So more railroad track, less balance beam. This front foot, this left foot is dragging back. It's not actually moving, but it's like gripping into the floor to come back. Engaging back glute. Sweep the arms up, not the ribs. The ribs don't rise, just the arms rise up. I'm going to keep that action. Back glute on, front foot dragging back, lowering halfway. And then root and rise back up. Just kind of reaffirm that scissoring hip action. Reach through the arms, reach, reach, reach. Palms face each other. Exhale, fold halfway again. Arms stay alongside the ears if they can. One more time, rising up. Front foot drags back. Back foot really drags forward. Exhale, hinge halfway. And then bring your hands down, maybe to the blocks if you're using them. Reaffirm, again, this front foot dragging back. And then maybe folding deeper. See how far you can get with a straight spine. So we're not rounding yet, if at all. So first we just work this pure hip hinge movement. And then maybe eventually you allow a bit of rounding to happen. But the dive, we're not doing a dive to get into the shape. That's kind of like the last thing that could happen, if it does at all. If you're kyphotic, if you know you've got like rounded shoulders, forward head posture, I wouldn't do any rounding at all here because I'm just going to reaffirm that. So particularly if you have forward head posture, keeping the head in line with the sacrum rather than dropping it forward is a good idea. Front knee could be bent. If you're feeling a ton in your front leg, like maybe not so good, too much, you can bend your front knee. Okay, pull the belly in. Let's try to come out the way we came in. So arms alongside the ears to rise up. And then arms floating down. And step switch. Right foot forward. Left foot back. Take your left foot out to the left more if you're having trouble squaring your hips. So both hip points are facing forward. Drag the front foot back. You can drag the back foot forward. They're gripping into the ground, not moving, and squeezing this back glute will all help that scissor, stable, energized hip action. Arms up alongside the ears. Do the ribs come up? Bring them down. Reach, reach, reach up through the arms, palms face each other. Exhale, fold halfway or so. Keep the arms alongside the ears. And then push the floor away with your feet to rise back up. Reaffirm that scissoring action through the hips. And hinge. Push the floor away to come up. One more time. Folding halfway. And then see if you can bring hands down here, but keep the head for now in line with the spine and continue the hip hinge. Front knee could be bent. You might feel better keeping the head in line with the rest of the spine, or maybe it doesn't feel better, but supports your postural goals maybe a little bit more, so you can keep the spine relatively straight. Or when you can't hinge anymore, you can fold around a little bit. Front foot can still be dragging back here. Let's try to go out the way we came in. So arms alongside the ears, start lifting head, lifting chest, and then push the floor away to rise up. Arms release down. We're going to step switch. We're going to go back to the first side for revolve triangle. So left foot is forward. Dragging the front foot back, squeezing right glute. You can even kind of monitor your ribs if you think or know you're like a rib popper like me. So you bring your left hand to your ribs. So ribs stay down, right arm reaches up. Really reach through the arm, but don't pop the ribs forward. Ouch, on the back, yeah? Okay, so we keep scissoring the hips, bringing this front hip back, the back hip forward. We're going to start twisting as we hinge here. So as you hinge, just like you did before, start to bring the right side of the rib cage over toward the left leg. And then you can bring your right hand down, spine parallel to the floor, so you can work with the setting on the block that creates that for you. Then the hips are done moving. You can even put a block on your sacrum to keep yourself honest. Then the rotation continues. It's coming through the ribs, through the spine. Maybe the arm stretches up. Let's turn gaze down. So we get a little counter stretch for the neck. Try pushing the floor or pushing the block away with the right hand. What happens if you drop the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha, and draw the abdominal wall in, above, below, to the right, to the left of the navel? Can you get a little more rotation? Unwind your spine. Push the floor away to rise up. And then we'll step switch. So right foot is in front. We're doing more left side first because we live in a right side world. So right foot is forward now. That same pyramid foundation with this scissoring action that can come from the feet in the floor. Ribs stay down, stretch left arm up. As you hinge, start the rotation. Bring the left side of the ribs forward and toward the right leg, and then bring the hand down. Maybe bring your block to your sacrum. Spine is parallel to the floor. Use the block setting that helps you maintain that. And then keep rotating through the spine, through the ribs, maybe extending through your arm. Let's turn the gaze down. You can push the floor, push the block with the left hand, push it away. Try drawing up on the pelvic floor. It's like this in and up. And lifting the belly up off of or away from the front leg. That might create a little bit more space for a little bit more rotation. And then eventually unwind your spine. Rise up to stand. And mountain pose, Tadasana. Feel your energy. Feel yourself as energy. Let's take a wide stance, a Prasarita stance. Consider having a block or two handy, either to support your head or to bring the ground closer. Yep, so we're gonna hinge at the hips and fold forward. Knees can be bent. They can stay bent or not. Find the setting on your block or block stack so that the back of the neck is long. Spread the toes, lift and spread the toes. Place them down with space between each toe. Some of you might take hold of your outer ankles and just slightly retract your shoulder blades. So a little bit of shoulder blades in toward the spine. Squeeze your thigh muscles, so like lift the kneecaps here. If your hands left the ground, bring them back underneath your shoulders. Straight arms. You can either heel toe your feet in first or hands to hips. Use your legs to rise up and then heel toe the feet in. Coming back to mountain pose. Watching and listening inwardly. Okay, we're gonna have a seat. If you have a bolster, you can use the bolster. We're gonna otherwise create a bolster with both blocks and the blanket. I have bolsters, but I'm gonna show it this way because I know a lot of people don't. So the blocks are end to end, low, wide setting, and then blanket going on top. And then we're gonna sit on it. Okay, here we are in Dandasana, sitting propped up here. If you don't have blocks at home, you can pile up some pillows or blankets. Okay, we're gonna slide the right heel in, close to the right sitting bone. It might run right into your prop setup. Right hand behind you. So, if you're on a bolster, you can use a block underneath your hand or tippy fingers. Some of you might be able to bring your hand onto the block behind you, onto that like block shelf or bolster shelf. So we want to avoid like going all the way down to the floor and the big lean. Okay, so you're already kind of in the twist here. Sit up taller, reach your left arm up. I'm mirroring. Really reach. So the hip can press down to the sitting bone. The left sitting bone presses down, the arm reaches up. Keep the arm up and turn from your belly. Turn. Then bring the arm down. So maybe there's a little forward lean to hook the elbow, or you can just bring your hand to the outer knee. So we don't want to round the spine just to satisfy the ego with the elbow hook. Okay, sitting up super tall, left leg is active, toes point up. Now we're adding some assistance from the arm and the leg into each other, but the twist is mostly coming from your center. Let's bring the nose in line with the sternum. Mula Bandha, the root seal, try drawing in and up with the pelvic floor and bringing your abdominals, your belly, back toward your spine. Might give you a little bit more space for rotation. Gently unwind your spine. Stretch right leg out in front, left heel in close as you can comfortably get it to the sitting bone. Sitting up tall. Got a pillow or a cushion or a block for your left hand, or maybe it can come to the same platform you're sitting on. The shoulder's already starting to go back. Reaching up through the right arm. Right sitting bone presses down, right arm reaches up, up, up. Keep the arm up. Make all the rotation come from your center. Then when that opportunity ends, you can bring the elbow down if it lands, or just bring the hand to the outer knee. So avoid rounding the spine, slouching, leaning forward to get the elbow hook. Lift up through the chest some more. Right toes point up. Find Mula Bandha. Draw the abdominals back toward the spine. Nose in line with sternum. Gently unwind your spine. Okay, we're going to use our bolster-like setup now for supported bridge. So you're going to have it lengthwise across your mat. Sitting on it. And then leaning back. So the pelvis is on your platform. The lower back is not. There's all this air, all this space between lower spine and the floor. You can just start with feet planted. Maybe they stay there. Notice if the ribs are flaring up toward the ceiling. So there's a couple things you can do here. So we can bring the thumbs to the back of the rib basket and the fingers to the front, and we kind of scoop. So the back of the rib cage moves up toward the head. The front of the rib cage moves down toward the pelvis. You can just kind of like walk the spine a little further away. And let's focus on letting the lower back drop. With your exhalations, you can focus a little bit more on the ribs, so the front of the rib cage moving in towards center. So like right moving to center, left moving to center. So that kind of in toward the midline, in toward the back body, and down toward your waist. So as you inhale, you can maintain that position of the ribs without hardening. If there's anything different you'd like to do in this shape, good. Straighten the legs, the heels on the ground, perhaps. Arms can come higher up. The blocks are on their lowest settings, so we're not going for, or at least I'm not suggesting today, this big, expansive chest. Eyes can be closed here. Breath is in the foreground of awareness. Relax the shoulders. Relax the face. Few more breaths here. Keep dropping the lower spine, lower back, softening, relaxing, releasing it down. And then whenever you feel ready, feet are planted here, lift your hips up off of your platform and just slide it down so your whole pelvis can come down to the ground. And if you like, you can leave it there to support your thighs, or just slide it out to the side to find your nourishing version of Shavasana. Maybe dimming the lights, grabbing your eye pillow, placing a blanket on top of you. You can readjust your ribs again if that was helpful for you. Making all the adjustments you need to make, and then coming into stillness. If you wear eyeglasses, I recommend removing them for Shavasana. It sends a message to your brain that it can relax, your mind can relax. Just resting here in this vast field of awareness. Your awareness to your breath. And become aware of your physical existence. If you feel ready, you can gently and slowly make your way up to a seat. Sense yourself as pure energy, pulsating, vibrating, permeable, not separate from everything around you. See if you can perhaps return to this idea, this feeling at some point, at any point, at many points throughout the day, particularly when you get caught up in like the mundane challenges of being in a human body in our society. Returning to this sense of your being as energy. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Peace to all beings everywhere. Thank you.